Hello everyone. Welcome to Dr. Rajkumar Academy. Welcome to the session on 23 to 2023. So guys, now Supreme Court refuses to stay EC order giving Sena name to Shinde. This is just a political news, guys. Nothing much. We should not read them and waste our time, but still. So the Shiv Sena has approached the Supreme Court in saying that you have to stop the order, else they will start taking up bank accounts and other aspects. So, for this, Supreme Court has told our focus is only on bow and arrow and this. I don't think at this stage we have to discuss about the other aspects. So, nothing much. India remains a bright spot to contribute 15% of global growth in 2023. Seriously. IMF is predicting that India might contribute 15% to global GDP. They are not talking about India's GDP because global GDP is going to reduce from 3.4 to 2.9. The main reason for this is if Russia Ukraine war continues, we are not able to bring the demand back in the economy, then it is going to be worse. And guys, personally, if you look, India is reducing from 6.8 to 6.1. Fine. Whereas, in this particular instance, when it comes to India's contribution to the world, it is 15%. Fine. So, again, this is a prediction, guys. Never read predictions. Don't waste your time in reading predictions. So, Delhi finally got, mayor after all the dramas that happened. Protect the power of the little man in a democracy. See, guys, this is a political article, guys, where they are trying to say what is happening, why some people, MLAs, are moving from one side to another side. So, nothing much. But just remember, protect the power of the little man in a democracy. The little man is the one who is going to do voting, guys. He gives vote on the basis of certain interest of his, but because of people changing political parties after winning elections and all, the little man is becoming powerless. Yes, this is an article which is talking about Russia-Ukraine war, guys. Yesterday I told you about the START treaty. So Putin is planning to come out of the START treaty. Correct? We saw this yesterday. Second most important thing, Biden reached Ukraine. He met the Ukrainian president. Now the issue here is US is still supporting Ukraine, Russia is still fighting on Ukraine, and if this continues, this would be a great disaster for the world. So, please ensure that talks are happening between the two and the problem is resolved. India can become a biodiversity champion. Guys, very, very important. Guys. Here, I just want you to know that India recently, fine, in a biodiversity conference along with the world, has agreed that 30% of the world's land and 30% of the world's oceans should be protected by 2030, known as 30-30 pledge. Fine. So India currently hosts 17% of the planet's human population and 17% of the global area in biodiversity hotspots. So what is the main intention of 30 by 30, guys? Let us say we have national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, marine protected areas. Like this, we have some areas, correct? Now, the main intention of this is we need to protect 30% of land, 30% of the oceans. That means we are planning to ensure national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and all increases to such an extent that we would have 30% protected under various programs of the government. Fine, this is the most important thing. For this, the article tries to say that in budget 2023, India is talking about green growth as one of the seven priorities or Saptarishis. The emphasis on green growth is welcome, right? So India is also planning for several programs like Green India, which aims to increase forest cover on degraded lands and protect existing forest lands. Fine, write these points, guys. 30 by 30 hyphen to protect 30% of world's land and 30% of world's oceans by 2030. Fine, next you write green growth is another program. Green growth is another focus area. Below that, the National Mission for Green India aims to increase forest cover on degraded lands. Next, the Green Credit Program has the objective to incentivize environmentally sustainable and responsive actions by companies, individuals, and local bodies. Next, guys, MISTI Mangrove Initiative for Mangrove Initiative for Shoreline Habitats and Tangible Incomes. So, guys, apart from this, if we see, India China hold in person border talks after 3 years. Fine. India China hold in person border talks after 3 years. I just want you to understand this. After 3 years, for the first time, India and China is meeting to resolve the border problems. And in this, if we see, there are two problems that we are facing, and in those two areas also they want to resolve the dispute. And once you resolve the dispute, right, once you resolve the dispute, it is very, very important to ensure stability and also build infrastructure. Fine, guys. Yes, this is just saying that they both are talking and they want to come to a conclusion. Now, guys, Israel has given Haifa port to Adani Group, and Israel says Adani has paid complete money to that, and that deal is very, very important for India. Biden administration makes renewed push to name Eric Garcetti as US envoy to India. See guys, in US there will be a lot of discussion about who should be the diplomat to different countries. In that they are pushing India's name, like for sorry, they are pushing Eric Garcetti's name as US envoy to India. Similarly, Germany and Danish countries are visiting India to discuss on climate change, Ukraine and China. Just remember, India is part of G20 summit and India is heading it. So all these countries will come and talk with India about the issues. Fine. Visits to focus on. This is what I want you people to understand. When they say to focus on, that means they have not yet met and they have not yet spoken. Without that, we cannot come to conclusions. Nagaland hopes to end long wait for first woman MLA in state. See, yes, Nagaland is a patriarchal society where women are not allowed to participate in elections. And for the first time, last elections, they had almost a person who was about to win, but she lost. But this year, everyone has contested, put women MLAs so that there is a possibility of women voting for that particular woman. Right? Nagaland is good when it comes to Christianity, religion, everything, but unfortunately, with respect to patriarchy, they never compromise on that specific issue and doesn't allow women to take up positions, guys. And this is happening from generations. Congress flays Jaishankar over comments on China, not in a hurry to become Bihar Chief Minister. Manish Sisodia calls Home Ministry not to prosecute him a sign of cowardice. Dickinsonia fossil found in Bhimbetka is old beehive. This Bhimbetka caves is very, very important for us from ancient history point of view. Fine. So please try to study about Bhimbetka caves, which is present in Madhya Pradesh. Fine. This Dickensia fossils and all, just try to know that in Bhimbetka, Dickensia fossil is found, nothing beyond that. NCST grills IIT on counselor posting. China Russia ties not aimed at other countries. So they are talking about how exactly they both can come together and counter the Western countries. Guys. Xi Jinping calls for China's self-reliance in technology. Seattle becomes the first city in US to ban caste discrimination. Even in US, you have caste and other things because of South Asian countries. Because as India is doing business with Russia, certain banks are not allowing, increasing the trade with other countries. When we need to pay back the money and other aspects, indirectly US is trying to put sanctions, not on India directly, but indirectly, where they are not allowing India to use the banks to pay money to Russia and others. Fine? Yeah. Guys, hope you people are preparing well for the exam. Exam is nearing by. Fine, utilize the time effectively as much as possible. Fine, write the tests, take tests regularly. Without tests, it's very difficult. Maybe till April first week or second week, you can read these newspapers if you're preparing for 2023. Fine, but please ensure you are going to revise at least 2 to 3 times because without revision, it's not easy for you to crack.